Alrighty, I'm just going to go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm going to introduce myself in a second, but just kind of general overview of what we're going to be talking about tonight. This is obviously the session for Centennial Place. University Housing is doing multiple sessions with different residence halls to give all the incoming freshmen just some necessary information about what to bring when you come on campus next month, what the rooms look like, and just some general policy guidelines for you all. So my name is Emily Duffy. I'm a resident director here at Centennial Place. My pronouns are she, her, and this is my contact information. I'm in building 2, and I'll be overseeing CP buildings 3 and 4 this year.
And my name is Colton Goodman. I am overseeing buildings 1 and 2 of Centennial Place this year, and I also will be looking over the Honors Living Learning Community.
I'm not trying to interrupt or anything, but am I in the right chat?
What building?
I've never seen Sentinel or whatever.
What building are you living in next year?
It's the Sentinel one. The Sentinel, whatever. The place. I should have said that. I'm driving from Atlanta right now. So okay, I'm just making sure I'm in the right thing.
This is the session for Centennial Place.
Sorry for that.
Okay. Well, you can always drop it in the chat if you can access that. But I will let our grads introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm the graduate director for Centennial Place. My name is Frederick. My pronoun is he, him, his. I am currently in my master's program for my higher education administration, and I am over buildings 3 and 4. I also am over front desk operations.
And then is Brandon here?
No, unfortunately, Brandon couldn't make it tonight, but Brandon is the graduate resident director over buildings 1 and 2, who will be my graduate resident director. He will also be overseeing Global Crossroads themed community.
So as Colton mentioned, these are the 2 living learning communities that CP houses. We have the Global Crossroads community and the Honors Living Learning community. Colton, you want to talk a little bit about those 2?
Yeah, so the Honors Living Learning community is housed for those first-year students that have been accepted into the Honors College. If you're able to be a part of that, that's great. If not, that's also understandable. We do have a few more spaces open, so if you're looking to get into the Honors College, please take a look at that. Global Crossroads is really about those students that want to be integrated into a global learning community. We have students from the international background, as well as students that are from the Georgia community, so that we can integrate and kind of understand differences in diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Quick note, if you are in the chat or in the call, make sure that you're muting yourself, just so everyone can hear all the things we have to say. Thank you. So these are the basic amenities of Centennial Place. We have super suites and we have apartments. The bedroom styles are shared, and we have some private rooms as well. Bed sizes are about 80 inches, and we have XL twin size beds. In the apartments, they're full size beds. We have Ethernet wireless. We have many kitchen appliances, refrigerator and microwave in the suites. And then in apartments, we have refrigerator, microwave, stove, oven, and dishwasher. Our laundry rooms, in the suites, we have community. In the apartments, we have washer and dryer in unit. There is a panic button in each unit that is for any emergency. When that's pressed, UPD responds within about 2 to 3 minutes. So that is, we reserve that for emergency situations. We have a clubhouse, which is in building 2, Centennial Place, a computer lab, a game room, and a number of doors. I believe this is within each room or within each suite or apartment. It's one set of drawers with 3 doors for storage for you.
Yep. So we understand this is a little bit smaller than necessary, but this is actually found online on our housing website. But if there's any questions that you may have about the length, the width, the height of anything, you can take a look at this currently, but that will be on our housing website. There's a question. Where are the community laundry rooms located in each building floor of the building? Yeah, so the community laundry rooms are only in buildings 1 and 2. In Centennial Place building 1, that is on the 1st floor. It will be to your right of the elevators as you exit, and the community laundry rooms in CP building 2, same thing. So as soon as you exit the 2nd floor of building 2, those laundry rooms are on your right. So like we said, these are going to be on the website, but if you want to take a look at them right now, just to see what kind of height each piece of furniture is going to be in your room, you can absolutely do that. Emily, do you have anything to add about this?
Just that this is a little bit blurry, and so I uploaded into the chat the website where you can find these exact measurements and all of the room layouts. So it's the auxiliary.georgiasouthern website in the chat for any further information. I'm also seeing in the chat, when do we get keys? You get keys when you move in, and move in is August 6th and 7th. You'll be signing up for time slots, and that should be coming out very soon. So just keep an eye on your email for that. There's a bunch of questions in the chat.
Yeah, so continue to ask your questions. We're going to go through this presentation real quick, and at the end of it, we'll answer any of those questions that y'all may have.
Well, okay, so these are approved items that you are allowed to have in your room. So you can have a clothing steamer or an iron that will automatically shut off, coffee pot with an automatic shut off, holiday decorations, only 2 strands of lights, may be strung together, and they must be labeled as UL approved. They're not allowed on porches or balconies. You can have a toaster, and you can have a power strip and a surge protector, but 1 per resident and 1 per living room. Also must be labeled as UL approved. They're not allowed in kitchens or bathrooms. You can have curtains. That's why we have measurements for windows. But they must be labeled as fire or flame retardant. So make sure when you're shopping for stuff, if you haven't already, that they're labeled that way.
Right, I'm going to go ahead and let you jump in.
Hi, so these are some of our approved items. Continued. These are just pre-approved for Centennial Place. The other places on campus. So we have an electric griddle, a George Foreman type grills, a panini press. Panini press, there we go. A quesadilla maker, rice cooker, slow cooker / crock pots. And everything that said is only in Centennial Place apartments. So if you're living in building 3 and 4, everything I just listed are in those units only. If you're living in building 1 and 2, George Foreman type grills and toaster ovens are allowed in your space, are not allowed in your space.
I just saw pop up real quick. So no, we do not allow air fryers in the residence halls, but major appliances such as washers, dryers, freezers, refrigerators, micro fridges, all those, for the most part, are already given to you by the university. So we cannot have them in the spaces just because of the way that the the buildings are wired and things like that. It could cause fires, and due to that, we do not allow those things because we already give them to you. And then, of course, additionally, to prevent fire with unsafe appliances and cooking practices, they're not permitted. So if you have more questions about those, again, please ask us. UL certified. What does UL stand for again? I know that was a question. Emily, do you remember? I cannot remember right now. I'm gonna look that up, and as we.
It's a seal that just means that the whatever it is that has it is recognized as safe and sustainable. So it just meets a certain set of standards.
Okay, perfect. So it's not something that's specifically with university housing, but it is something overall that is a safety standard.
Okay, so these are the not approved items. This is all found in our community guide, which you can find online. So if you, I mean, you can take pictures of this if you want, but if you need to reference this again, you can go online and it's all there. But these are things that we absolutely do not allow in any residence hall. A few, like we said, air fryers, that's a very popular one that we see a lot. Obviously candles, huge fire hazard. Any sort of incense, any sort of plugins, any sort of rope lighting that you can tape to the wall, that is prohibited. Long extension cords, electric frying pans, deep fryers, all of those things. So again, I'm not going to read all of these, but it is in our community guide, and I can drop that link in the chat as well for you all at the end, so you have that to reference. But we encourage you to not bring these, and if we see these on move-in, we will ask you to make sure that they go home with whoever brings you. Go for it, Fred.
So for our room decoration policies, so I was reading chat. So these are just some of our policies that we have for room decoration. So if you have any posters, decoration, they need to be at least 12 inches from the ceiling or floor, and they cannot cover more than 50% of the wall. Suspending any items from the ceiling, including but not limited to fishnets, parachutes, stripper poles, holly lights, and flags. They cannot be suspended in the front ceiling. Possession or displaying any alcohol paraphernalia is also not allowed. Affixing any items to the wall, ceiling, or floor in a manner that may create damage to the surface. That will be if you try to put up a flat screen TV, mounting it to the wall. If you take it off and cause damage, that's not allowed. Displaying any item facing outward towards the public space in the windows or in porches or balconies of the on-campus running facilities. So in every unit, there are windows. In every room, there are windows. So if you have something facing the outside where people can see, that was not allowed. Curtain or window treatment that do not possess a fire retardant label from the manufacturer, and failure to use low tack tape. So a good practice that we do use here is that if it's blue tape, which is painter's tape, that's good to go. That way they won't peel up the paint and it will avoid charges at the end of the year. And affixing any item to a fire rated door is not allowed. So meaning that we have very limited space that there's their front door, your front entrance door, it's a fire rated door. So we ask that you do not add anything to your door. We try to give out door decks to all the residents when they come on campus, and that door deck is the only thing you have in your door.
Okay, we also, besides just our general stipulations on what to bring, what not to bring, what to have in your rooms, we did want to touch on some safety measures that we encourage everyone to take while they're on campus, and then also what we take. as university housing on campus. So in every residence hall, we have on-call staff each night. That is, we start with the resident advisors. They're on call, and then we have other university housing staff, such as Fred, Colton, and myself, on call on a rotational basis. We also have university police on campus to respond to emergencies and anything crisis related. Also, in interior hall buildings, we have doors that are accessed through card swipes. And then each residence card is programmed for their specific hall to gain access. So for instance, if somebody lives at Southern Courtyard, their Eagle ID will not get them into Centennial Place. Exterior building units additionally have deadbolts. Again, so like Southern Courtyard is an exterior unit, they have 2 deadbolts for extra security measures. Each unit within the building has a panic button, like I mentioned before, and students can press this for any emergency, and UPD will respond promptly. We also have the Live Safe app. I encourage everyone to download this as soon as you can. It's very user-friendly. It gives you Georgia Southern contact numbers for UPD, gives you a safety map to find any, like a hospital or any sort of emergency service that you would need. It also gives you a link to Safe Ride, which will allow you, it's usually a security official, usually a UPD officer will come pick you up if you don't feel safe and you need a safer means to get home.
Yep. So the main part of Operation Move-In happens, on August 6th to the 7th for both campuses. If you have an early arrival, whether that be sorority move-in, RLC move-in, which would be honors crossroads, things like that, or athletic move-in, you will be moving in between August 2nd to the 4th. Other than that, there's not very much wiggle room with that. We want to make sure that everyone is coming in with their right time slots. And of course, more information will be on the website that they have right there.
Yes, that's the direct link. And then this QR code is also a link to the OMI website on the Georgia Southern website. And then also, I just wanted to mention the Live Safe app is free as well. And when you download it, you just click Georgia Southern and it automatically populates all of the information that you need, all of the numbers, all of the maps. So it's very easy and intuitive. All right. So question time. I see our chat is blowing up. So let's go through those. I think we've had some people answering as they've come in. But I'm going to scroll up and just, Colton, Fred, we can just kind of take turns.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start on 2 things. So there are printers located within the residence halls. Each residence hall does have a computer lab. Now, each day, those open up between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m., depending on what building you're in. In Centennial Place, they'll open up at 8 a.m., but they will close at 10 p.m. So if you don't get in there before to print, you won't have access to that. Any measurements that are in the residence halls are within that housing website. We don't know them exactly, but they are listed online.
So once you get down here, we're going to have introductions and also your introduction to your RA. And also we're gonna have people to have our RAs create a group chat with information that we share with us. It's pretty much they're going to make a group chat using GroupMe. So if you would like to download a app called GroupMe, that's pretty much our main communication that we use for our residents. And you'll be added to that group chat. You'll be able to have a direct on GroupMe, they give you option to have like a direct message to your RA. So that's one thing that you'll have. And you'll be able to ask them any questions that you need, and they'll be able to give you resources on campus that you can use.
Someone asked if a trunk will fit under the bed. It depends on how large the trunk is, but most likely no. I fit at the end of the bed. And moving your beds around your room. Yes, it depends on the size of your room. the other furniture located in your room so that you'll just have to see when you get here if you can move it around.
Yep. So the room numbers are read by, the first number is the building in which you're in. The second number is the floor that you're on. And then the last two numbers are your room exactly. So if you're in 3203, you're in building 3, you're on the second floor, and your room is the third room.
Yes, you can have curtains as long as they are labeled flame retardant. And that's in the game room. We have a bunch of game consoles, right, Colton? I'm not exactly sure which ones. Bunch of game consoles.
Yeah, so we have a bunch of game consoles within the building itself. So they're scattered out between the clubhouse and the CP Cafe. We don't specifically have a game room in itself, but we do have a lot of other board games that you can rent out from the front desk. You just have to ask the desk assistant while the clubhouse is open for those things to happen. At the end of the night, the DAs or the resident advisors will ask you to bring those back. And just for the next question, are you able to change the shower heads in the bathroom? Technically, we can't stop you from doing that, but if you do not put the shower head back the way it was, there may be a charge for that, for it not working correctly. So just make sure that if you are changing the shower head, that you're doing it correctly and soundly.
And to not flood the apartment.
Mhm.
Private, so private room suites available for honors, I believe so.
There should be. You should, if you are accepted into the Honors College, there should be a link to apply for Honors LLC Living. So go ahead and add your name to that as soon as possible.
TVs are not included. You'll have to bring that yourself. We do have TVs in the clubhouse, like lounge areas. So.
You do not need to bring a shower curtain rod. Shower curtain rods are provided with a liner that goes inside of the tub. You can get one to go outside. It'll be more decorative if you would like as well.
So when it comes to rush, if you are rushing, you should have already signed up for that, and you should have been able to sign up for a move-in time on August 2nd. If you did not receive that email, you need to reach out to either Fraternity and Sorority Life to ensure that you are rushing, or housing to make sure that you got the correct email.
As long as the electric kettle has an automatic shut off, I believe it is okay. So if it automatically shuts off when it's done boiling, then you're good. So I think there's another rush question, and I believe you should, like Colton said, you should have gotten an email about that already. So if you have not, reach out to Fraternity and Sorority Life. You all approved. I think somebody answered that later on, but it's just a safety standard label.
Yes, thank you, CJ.
Every room do have a window. So like your own personal room will have a window. And if you are in an apartment setting, or if you have a living room in your space, then that living room space will also have a window as well.
You cannot have an air fryer. Do we have an admin or a person we go to in our building if we need anything? Yes, there are many people that you can go to. Your first point of contact is usually your RA, and those housing, those are part of our housing team, and they will be reaching out once everyone is moved in. And you will meet them very soon after you move in. But there's also the graduate assistants, which are Fred and Brandon, and then the resident directors who oversee everyone, myself and Colton. But usually your direct contact is your RA.
Yep. So jumping forward to the guest policy. So how does it work if we're having someone who doesn't attend GSU come visit and stay in our room? So we don't have a check-in policy when it comes to the buildings, just because of the way that it's set up. We don't have a front desk person in every building, but we do work on an honor system. So a guest that you bring over can be here for 3 consecutive days within a week, and only 15 days within a semester. So keep that in mind. If you have someone who's coming over, they can't stay the night more than 15 days. That's to keep you in an academic setting, as well as potential roommates that you may have.
Our next question: in the 4-bedroom, is bed automatically lifted? So how high beds? So it depends. So beds are not automatically lifted per se. It's more of whoever was utilizing that space last after you clean everything. It's the bed is left the same, but you can always put in work order to get that adjusted to the height that you like.
No, you will not get searched on move-in day.
No, you won't get searched on move-in day, but we will have resident advisors that are going throughout the building to check in with their new residents and make sure that everything is going well. If there's something that they notice that is an unapproved item, they will just let you know, so that, you know, either you can leave the item with your guardian that's with you, so on and so forth. But there will be health and safety inspections throughout the semesters, so keep that in mind as well.
I'm realizing that these questions are answered later on.
Yeah, we're just going to keep moving down.
Yeah.
LED lights they're allowed as long as they are not the strips. So I just want to make that clear. If you put the strips up in the space and they cause wall damage, that is a violation. So please, please, please do not bring light strips.
No screws. You will be charged for holes in the wall if you screw anything into the wall. Just no strips.
And what is considered a large flag or banner, something that takes up 50% of the wall. So use your best judgment on that. If you think it's actually going to take up 50% of any given wall, so not all the walls added up, one specific wall. If it's going to take 50% of that wall, it's better not to put it up.
And it also needs to be hung, there needs to be a 12-inch gap between whatever is on the wall and the ceiling. So if you're hanging a flag, it needs to be 12 inches below the ceiling.
12 inches above the floor.
Correct.
So can you get your assignment switch, or are you stuck with it? So currently right now we are at 100% capacity, but once everybody gets settled and we do occupancy checks, we see what rooms that we have left, and we will have a day where you're able to switch to different locations on campus if that's what you would like to do. But we will send out more information about that as it closer to that time.
Work orders do not cost money when you submit them. Just know that it takes time and the team is serving the entire campus.
Exactly. And yes, the doors don't lock technically, but 24/7 the doors are they're locked with your Eagle ID. So if you're getting into any building other than building 2, because we keep that open for classes and things that we have here, make sure that you always keep your Eagle ID on you, because that's the way that you're going to get into the door. So you need your Eagle ID at all times, and you need your room key at all times.
Where can you find dimensions of the room? On the Centennial Place website on Georgia Southern. I can link it again in the chat, but if you just Google Centennial Place Georgia Southern, it'll pop up and it gives you digital tours of all the spaces as well as measurements for everything. Does not come with a trash can. You need to bring your own.
Yeah. And we don't provide plungers anymore. So if you do need a plunger, make sure you bring that. For the person that's asking if we're in an RLC and doing recruitment, are we missing anything from the other groups? Not this year. So we have not done an orientation, but we will be doing a welcome event for RLC. So keep a lookout for that in your email. But there's nothing that you'll be missing because of recruitment. For Christopher Johnson, why aren't multi-plug adapters / extension cords not allowed? So they don't have surge protectors. Within the residence halls, the way that they're built is that many of the plugs are on a multi-basis, meaning that multiple rooms use the same electrical unit. So if there's not a surge protector, that means that it could cause a fire with whatever you plug into it. And that's the reason that we can't allow extension cords. But if you do have a surge protector strip, that is absolutely fine.
We're also getting a lot of questions about LED lights. As long as they're not rope lights,
Correct.
should be fine. They just need to be hung correctly on the wall, not taking up more than 50% of the wall, and not, it needs to be within 12 inches or below 12 inches.
So are there any window stoppers for people on the first floor? So we do provide window sticks. So they lock automatically. Well, they're not automatically, but they're already locked by the time you get there. But we have window sticks as well, so that even if someone were trying to lift it, that is to prevent them. So if you are opening your window for any air, things like that, that's fine. Just make sure that at the end of the night, you close it, put the window stick in for your safety.
No, you do not need to bring a shower rod. They provide a thin like plastic curtain, but you can bring your own if you'd like.
And we honestly don't know the deadline to register for Rush. That's Fraternities for Life. I would reach out to them for sure.
Yes, you can bring LED lights as long as they're not strip lights.
And no, you can't have a Febreze plug-in, but you can have an oil diffuser. You can have Febreze in general, but nothing that plugs into the space, again, due to surge protecting and potential fire.
Everything that you need, everything that you can and cannot bring is in our community guide, which can be found on our Georgia Southern website. If you Google Georgia Southern community guide, it'll pop up.
Go ahead, Fred.
I'll look through this. So somebody was asking about how is pizza delivered. So we do not allow pizza delivery people or any delivery company come inside the hall because we have to tap to get in. So you will meet them at a roundabout that you will see once you get down here. It's a little roundabout area next to the dumpsters, and that was pretty much where you'll go to pick up any delivery. That's the location. That's a central location that most delivery people do stop at.
I know it's already answered in chat, but I'll go ahead and answer it. Wax warmers are not allowed. Push pins are fine. They don't make too big a holes. Just make sure that it's not a lot of push pins within the walls.
No question is a dumb question. Our rooms do not have ceiling fans, but each room does have an air conditioning unit that you are able to control the temperature in your space, along with agreement of everybody else that's also in your space. When I say space, I mean that people that's in your apartment or within your unit with you, you all agree on a temperature. You set that temperature, and that's pretty much going to be in your community agreement once you get on campus.
For the person that asked if you're okay to move in an RLC and plan to move in on the 6th, that's absolutely fine. We try to have RLC students move in earlier so that we can do an orientation or a welcome event. We're not doing an orientation this year, but we are doing a welcome event. So if you do miss the welcome event, that's absolutely fine. We will still be programming with you throughout the year.
Also want to, I keep seeing people asking for wanting to search you. I just want to reiterate, we will not be searching you at all or going through your things. That's not what we're doing. I think that might have gotten misconstrued when we were talking earlier, but just, if we see something that's prohibited, if we see somebody walking down the hallway with an air fryer, we're going to be like, excuse me, this is a prohibited item. We can't have you have this in your space. And that's also to prevent you from getting or going through the conduct process later on. So we're keeping everyone safe and we're keeping you following our policies. So no, we won't be going through your boxes or anything like that.
Correct. Right. We will not be searching you at the beginning of the year. When health and safeties come, that is literally just to ensure that within the space, people are being safe. We will inform you of when those happen. So you will have previous knowledge. We won't just go into spaces unaware, you being unaware, things like that. So just to give you a heads up on that.
Yes, this will be recorded and posted online, very easily accessible to everybody after.
Good question for the person. Do you have to register your MAC address for smart TVs or GSU Tech Team? We do have a website that's called GS Device where you can register all of your items. You will need a MAC address. In my experience, smart TVs, they run a little bit slower with that, but your computers run a lot faster on GS Device.
Just to reiterate, the laundry room / community washers, they are, if you are living in building 1, so that means that your number starts with a 1. They are on the first floor of the building on the right side. If you are looking towards our dining commons, which you'll see once you get here, and there is one in the building 2 on the second floor on the right side if you're looking towards the street right in front of the building, which you'll see once you get here. Yes, so washing machine and dryers are free. Like we said, so it's already paid within your housing expenses. So once you pay that, you'll be good to go. Like Jody said, only thing you need to bring your soap. And I mentioned this earlier, but if we have dumpsters outside next to the roundabout, we will be able to direct you and tell you that location once you get here. But you are responsible for taking your trash to the dumpster, and yeah.
Yep. And I don't know if we passed this or not, but when it comes to parking passes, if you call the Office of Parking and Transportation, they will inform you on what lots are for Centennial Place. They do have specific letters that come with them. I believe ours is C. But make sure that you call Parking Transportation if you are confused about that. And it is only for Centennial Place students.
Someone just asked about animals. It's a very good question. We have a animal policy. So if you register, if you have an emotional support animal, you're more than welcome to have those animals in your space. But there are a few processes that you need to go through. You need to go through our SARC office, which is our student accommodations office, get approval from them first. Then you will get, that office will connect with the main housing office and we'll get approval with main housing. And then if you also have roommates, that part of that approval process will be having your roommates sign paperwork to make sure that they're okay and they are aware of this animal being present in the space. If you do not have that approved paperwork, that is a conduct violation and we will hold you accountable for having an unapproved animal on campus. Yes, fish are allowed.
I don't know if we answered this right. When we move out for holidays, do we have to move back in to the same room? So you will move back into the same room. You don't have to move everything out. You can leave whatever you don't need for the holiday break. If you do plan on moving spaces within the spring semester, we will work with you, but unless you have approval to move before spring, you will be moving back into the same space.
So our residence halls are co-ed, so it's not in the same room. Our residence halls are defined as co-ed, mean co-ed by units. That means that different apartments will have the same sex, but they can same sex, but each apartment can be on the same floor.
Okay, I think we got through all of those questions. Nice job, T.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to stick around if anybody has any further questions. But if not, I hope that you all have a great night and we will see you all in the fall.
Can't wait.
See you soon.
Oh, hang on. So I asked about the computers and laptops. So you have to sign those up. You don't technically have to sign those up. You don't have to put them on GS Device. You can use GS Campus, which you just use your email address essentially, and the password that you put on that. You can sign into that Wi-Fi network. It is a lot better though. I've seen to sign it up on GS Device, but you don't have to sign it up. What building is what for CP? It goes in a very interesting counterclockwise sense, but the building that's closest to what you see is called the Dining Commons Landrum is building 1. To the left of that is building 2. Behind that is building 3. And building 4 is to the right of that, which is right next to the parking lot. It's a lot easier to see when you get here in person, which we will have a lot of signs that give you exactly what building is what. That's a good question. What is a good size TV to bring? So if it's in your personal space, I would say smaller than a 55-inch. If you're putting it in the living room, which you have in CP3 or 4. It could be larger than a 55, but remember, if you're putting in the living room, everyone's probably going to use it. So we did have a slide about what you can and can't bring, but that is also on our housing website. So we do have the residential community guide. Emily's going to go back to it, but if you don't see it in this, you can reference back to the website, as well as what we'll give you when you get here on campus.
To find your PO box number, you're going to go to your My Georgia Southern and go to your Wings account. And on your Wings account, you'll go to student and you go to PO box information, or you can go to, it's also in your addresses tab. So you'll go there to find your PO box number.
Yeah, so talking about guests, like I said, we don't have a check-in system when it comes to guests, but we do have a policy. So it is guests can stay 3 consecutive nights of the same guest within a week. So after that third night, they can't stay again, and they can't stay more than 15 nights within a semester. So keep that in mind for if you have a significant other or things like that. We're protecting you as well as your roommates with that specific policy.
Centennial Place is not it's not technically the middle, right, like dead center middle of campus, but it's close. It's one of the closest residence halls to most of the academic buildings. It's the closest pretty much to a lot of buildings. So getting to class is pretty easy compared to living in other places on campus.
Yes, you can bring roller skates. Make traveling through campus much easier. There are no TVs in the apartments. You'll have to bring your own, but we have TVs in the common areas or the clubhouse common areas in building 2.
Did you talk about chairs?
Chairs.
Yeah.
No, I didn't talk about chairs.
Yeah, so chairs are allowed within the residence hall if you want to bring a gamer chair, things like that. You just have to make sure that it is, in technical terms, not blocking egress. So if there were a fire or anything like that, it's not blocking the way to get you out of your space or to get any of your fellow roommates out of the space. So you can bring a chair, just be aware of those things.
We don't have a limit for people accompanying others for move-in this year, do we?
No, our
No.
guest policy is
Yep.
back to the way it used to be.
So however many people you need.
Along with the guest, one thing about it is that everybody in your space has to approve of the guest being there.
You can bring roller skates, but just as an FYI, again, in our conduct policy, you cannot have roller skates within the residence hall. Like you can't use them within the residence hall. So if you bring them and you want to use them on the roads or in the on the sidewalks, you can absolutely do that. Just do not use them within the residence hall. That will result in a conduct conversation.
You can bring your own bike. We have bike racks outside each building, So you have to put your bikes on the bike racks. You're not allowed to actually bring your bike inside of your apartment or suite. Just we always tell residents to make sure that you secure it by having a U-lock or some sort of way of locking your bike to the bike racks.
All the
Um,
items on the screen right now are items you cannot bring. Again, if you go on the Georgia Southern website and search community guide, I'll have all of these items listed there as well. But these are all the items that you should not be bringing on move-in. These items are approved. You can bring these as well as these. Again, it's all online.
For move-in, your parents or family do not need a parking pass. We do not start checking parking passes until the day of the first day of classes. So if you need people to help you move in during that time, that's absolutely fine. Just be aware, we're also not checking students' parking passes during that time as well. The first day of classes, if you do not have your parking pass, you need to call parking and transportation immediately. Otherwise, you will get parking violations, which go directly to your Wings account. They don't actually leave those violations on your car anymore. So always keep in mind looking at your email to see if you have any of those violations.
It's also important to note that it's registered by plate. So you need to be parking with the tail end of your car sticking out. If you're not and they can't read your plate, like you're doing a pull through and they can't see your plate, they will ticket you.
Okay, do not back in. There are vending machines within the residence halls. I believe there is one in each building. I'm pretty sure they're all soda vending machines, soda or water. I don't think we have any actual food vending machines within Centennial Place.
So for guest parking, you are allowed to go to parking and transportation, and they will give you a temporary guest parking pass. They can give that to you. Usually the calls probably around, if it's 2 or 3 days, usually it costs. Actually, I don't know the exact cost, but if you go to actual parking and transportation, they'll give you all the information you need. Just answer your questions. So for Uber or any other transportation service, they are allowed to come into the roundabout that we have, and they'll be able to pick you up and pretty much take you where you need to go. They don't need a parking pass to be here, as long as they're still in their car and not just parked somewhere in the parking lot.
For digital literacy, you said that there are spaces in Honors College, but the application is closed. Go ahead and email us at residentseducation@georgiasouthern.edu. That will be forwarded to our assistant director for residential learning communities, and we will work through you with that.
Someone asked about Zipcar. Zipcar is not run through the university at all. They just have a location here on campus. So if you want to use the Zipcar, you'll need to set up your own account and do it all through their app. UPD or University Housing or any university official does not control Zipcar on campus.
Press and the rice cooker are only approved for use in Centennial Place apartments. They are not able to be used in Centennial Place suites.
Did we already talk about the check-in spot?
No.
So the check-in spots are actually not in Centennial Place. If you're moving in early for RLC or shorty recruitment, it will be at Watson Commons, not in Centennial Place. So you'll see the signs, it'll bring you specifically there. If you're checking in any other day, it will be at Paulson Stadium. There'll be a line. It's very efficient. It should move very quickly to where people will give you a map of your building, as well as us as the leadership team, your key, and a pass. And you should be able to print that out to make sure that things go smoothly. To check in to get your key is not at Centennial Place.
The transportation fee is part of your tuition and part of like automatic fees go to your account. So even if you don't use it, you will still have to pay for it. Because it also goes into other things that you might use on campus. Now, if you're talking about the parking pass is if you have a car, that's the only time you'll pay for a parking pass. And there's one parking pass per person, but like I said, you can go back to the parking transportation page on your Georgia Southern, and then it will give you more information about that.
So the tech store that is located within Centennial Place, it is a part of auxiliary services in which we're all a part of, but we actually don't have the statistics of how many people visit tech store, but they're still in service, which means a good amount of people do it. That's also a great place that if you're having issues with your computer, as a residential and student of Georgia Southern, you get a discount there. So if you are having any issues, bring that in. But there's also plenty of new tech that they get in weekly.
I see another question about what's the same place, but good place, good location on campus, meaning how like easy to get to classes. I undergrad I live here at the same place. If class was at 10 o'clock, I could leave my place around probably about 9:50 and still get to class on time. Don't do that, plan ahead. Like it's always good to plan ahead and get there when you need to, because like you never know how busy the pedestrian is, but you can pretty much get to anywhere on campus probably with less than 10 minutes from Centennial Place.
Yeah. For the resident about dual enrollment, so you may need to get another one, but if you have to get another Eagle ID, it would be free to you because they would need to give you a regular Eagle ID to a residential Eagle ID. And the only difference with that is the chip that's inside it. The chip allows you to utilize our check or our, unlocking the system. So you just have to let them know that you need a different ID. Honestly, when it comes to PO boxes, that's a good question for Fred. We personally, as RDs, don't get PO boxes, but from what I know, they usually set those up when you get on campus. Is that right, Fred?
For PO boxes, they do set them up once you get on campus, but also they set them up like once you're approved to live on housing, you sign your contract, it will go through the process of you getting a PO box, and they will send that information to you probably like a week or two after you sign your contract. What the cool thing about PO boxes is that they try to stay if you stay on campus consistently every year, they try to keep your same PO box. They try to do their best to keep the same PO box with you.
You can also troubleshoot by just contacting the postal services. The person that asked that question, I direct message you the info for that. So it gives the hours of operation, the email, and the phone number to call. But it is supposed to be assigned to you, so that might have just been an oversight, but I would give them a call to see what they can do for you.
And PO boxes are automatically assigned to you once you are on campus. Living on campus, as long as you live on campus. That's what I meant, sorry.
Awesome. So it looks like we made it through the questions. If there's something that we did not answer that you specifically need, we may not have seen it. Go ahead and put it back in the chat. Other than that, I hope you all have a good night, and we'll see you on the phone.
Thank you.
See you in a few weeks.
Bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Yes, Josie, you can ask an RE-related question, and yes, they do come with trash cans. It's a small green trash can that has a recycling sign on it, but we do give those in every room. So we don't allow within the first semester of being an RA having a job outside of the RA responsibilities, just because it is so much, in all honesty, being your first semester. But after that first semester, you are allowed to have a remote job. Yeah, no, you're all good.
Yeah, thank you for asking that.
Yes.
Any other questions?
See you next week, Josie.
Yep, see you soon, Josie.
See you soon.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and end the call. So if you, for those that are still on, if you have any more questions, please don't hesitate to email us at residenceeducation@georgiasouthern.edu. And again, we'll see you all in about 2 to 3 weeks.
Bye.
See you later.